Virtual Man back at it again. I got my virtual my Puma PLAYBOX out for this one because this is a arcade only build, but it also has Atomiswave, Dafne, Naomi, Neo Geo, and some OpenBOR games as well. V-Man, his 512 gigabyte image had some great responses, people loving it. So in this video, we're going to check out this arcade build. 64 gigabyte will fit on most cards very easily for the Raspberry Pi 4. It's going to play these games beautifully. It has a lot of add-ons, a lot of customization. So in this video, we're going to do a brief overview. I'll show you the different systems and game lists. We're going to play some games, and then I'll share my thoughts on this image. So strap in and get ready for this one.
Yeah. I'm a you.
All right, here we are on V-Man's 64 gigabyte arcade only image. The download comes around 50 gigabytes, so it's going to fit on most 64 gigabyte SD cards. Again, this is arcade only build, so you're going to have your arcade classics, a few Atomiswave games, a nice Dafne set, Naomi, Neo Geo, and some OpenBOR games. That's the bulk of this. These are all collections below that. And he has a really cool selection of favorites. But why this image is so great is it's for the Raspberry Pi 4, so it's really going to play those Atomiswave and Naomi games really well, as well as those arcade games that kind of struggle on the Raspberry Pi 3. I'm thinking like the more advanced fighting games, some of those sports games that are a little bit better graphics will run on this just fine on the new Raspberry Pi 4. As you see, for the occasion, I've brought out my Puma Pi kit. And again, this is running a really cool base image. It's got videos to start. It has over 80 tracks of background music. He optimized the scripts even more. For example, there's supposedly a speed up boot time. So for those of you that launch a game, you go to a game, you click it, there's a little bit of time in between when the game loads. And as you see, there's some launch screens, but the games are booting up pretty darn fast, especially for arcade games. Look how fast that is. And as you see, it does have the bezel project on here as well. So a lot of visual customizations. Speaking of visual customizations, a lot of pre-installed themes on here. So you can either go to UI settings and change out the themes. You can turn on or off the theme randomizer. So every time you boot up could be a different theme. Or you can download additional themes once you're on the internet. Speaking of the internet, this does have the V-Man fixes and scripts on it. So for example, if there ever is an issue with this image, you can easily update it. It also has all the scripts on it if you want to disable your background music, change out your controller, so you can have all this arcade goodness on a really great TV. He also has instructions on how to get this set up for like a arcade 1-up or for something on a different display. So he has both options available to you. So great base image, great customization, and then lastly, as we're going to see now, a huge arcade set, 1,727 arcade games. There's just, if you go about all games, it's just shy of 2,000 games total. If you're just new to the image, I would jump into favorites. There's some really good games here in favorites. If you don't like these collections like SNK Classics, Sega Classics, Shoot 'em Ups, his Virtual Man Arcade Classics, you can easily get rid of those. Just hit start on your controller, go to game selection settings, and turn them off here. Just uncheck the boxes and then go back, like beat 'em ups, you can turn that off. But let's go ahead and you have 61 OpenBOR games, 140 Neo Geo, 33 Naomi. Let's go ahead and have a look at those. 10 Dafne games, large set there, 7 Atomiswave games, and then back to all the arcade classics. And now for the rest of the video, I'm going to go ahead and scroll through the arcade classics so you can see if you're looking for a specific game, if it has it or not. All the games I tested were working really well, and I know V-Man takes pride in going through every single game and optimizing them and making sure they're working. So I can tell you right now, this set is really, really nice. So while that's scrolling through, I want to share with you a couple things. One, some notes about the image, and then two, if you're interested in the image. Number one, if you're interested in the image, there'll probably be a link in the description that'll guide you towards V-Man's forum or wherever else he is doing his builds, and you can jump on there, register, and he has different builds and different options, and also answers questions on there. Some people have been saying that you have to pay in order to get in. That's not true from my understanding. I don't know though. I'm not affiliated with that. I don't get any money from it. I simply post the link. Now there is a donate button that I am aware of, but from what I understand, it's just a donate button. The RetroPie people have a donate button. Many people who are developers who work on things have a donate button. That doesn't mean you have to donate in order to get the software. But that's about the extent that I'm willing to talk about that. I am not involved at all with, there's many groups and things like that. I try to be kind of this neutral party. I'm simply was given the image and I am reviewing it, and I'm very much enjoying it. That being said, let's talk a little bit more about the image itself. So 64 gig will fit on a 64 gigabyte SD card, no problem. You could get a bigger image, bigger SD card, and then just expand. It's made for the 4K TV, and it has those V-Man fixes. So if somebody finds something wrong with it, he tends to make a little script and fixes it. But I've run it on my 4K TV and on a regular monitor and had no issues. I was mentioning earlier he did have some settings that he would recommend if you are going to be running this in a DMT monitor for like an arcade cabinet. There's some configuration video files and notes here on the forum. Like I said, it has tons of background music. It has the skins installed, all the scripts pre-installed for you, so you don't have to go into terminal and add any of that stuff yourself. It is on RetroPie 4.5.18 as the time of release. There may be a new version of RetroPie that comes out later, but you can easily add that on. The image is pre-shrunk, and when you insert in your SD card, it should auto-expand. It has a clean Raspbian Buster operating system. It was derived from his 512 gigabyte image, but just, you know, made a arcade only version. It's 6 systems, shy of 2,000 games. Clean front end, you know, pretty, not a lot of bloatware on there. It has the top 15 Hursty arcade themes, and the randomizer is enabled to start. There are those collections, and I showed you how to get in and out of those. But 16 Virtual Man custom video splash screen intros. My favorite one being the one that I actually left in the video. 85 killer background music. I mean, that's up to you if you like it, but it's a very retro arcade 1980s theme to go along with this whole image, which is a 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000 era theme. So lots of testing. He has lots of people in his corner that check the stuff out, report back to him. He fixes it. Faster game load time. So this is exactly what he wrote. Tweaked run command. Press A to change emulator on game load. You can easily re-enable if you accidentally, for kids, you know, if you don't want them to get into the configuration files, you know, keep it kid friendly. It does support retroachievements.org. So you have to register an account, but those are like score keeping and things like that. That's pretty cool. And then it tells you how to do that. Customize and optimize to give you all the best retro gaming experience. Okay, so there you have it. That is the gist of it. So now for my final thoughts on the image. I mean, you all know I love the 512 gigabyte image, and I like purpose-built images. When I get a purpose-built image, I have to put it in that category. I know Wolfano's had an arcade-only image not too long ago. A few other people have arcade-only images. I know there was like Mike Oz, a couple of the Recall Box people did one, and this is the first big one for the Raspberry Pi 4. I don't actually know of any at the time of me recording this, and so it is very cool, A+ work. That's what I think. Let me know what you all think. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.